I'm Megan Skidmore. For 2.5 years, I have been talking about evolving faith journeys. I started to tire of the heaviness of this focus. I had the clear message come through. It is time for Beyond the Shadow of Doubt podcast to evolve into Living Beyond the Shadow of Doubt podcast. With the same vulnerability and unapologetic authenticity, I will be focusing on the joy in this journey, the life and the living that comes on the other side of maybe, on the other side of what's possible. I want to talk about claiming spiritual sovereignty and becoming your own captain of your vessel. Let's celebrate releasing what no longer aligns for you and connecting with your higher power and honor expanding your energy field to make room for all things new. The vibration is high this month on Living Beyond the Shadow of Doubt podcast. Pretense is dropped and caution thrown to the wind in each interview. I am dropping a new episode daily, spotlighting one of the amazing, soul-led, heart-centered authors of Joan of Arc Publishing, or JOA Publishing, founded by Kira Brinton. Like the namesake for this publishing house, each one embodies the fearless, God-centered spirit left by the legacy of Joan of Arc. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single one. Hey, Christine, how
Hi,
are
Megan.
you?
So excited to be
I,
here with you today.
I am so thrilled. I have been loving these conversations.
Mhm.
And, I just met you at the JOA Collective, middle of January. And here we are, second week of February. And I feel like I already know so much about you. Before I hit record, we were talking about how the past month feels like several lifetimes
Yeah, speedy, huh?
because of the shifts that so many of us have made and the layers that we have shed and peeled back, and the new the next version of ourselves has shown up and continue to show up.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to share your story and share more about you with our listeners. So let's just get into gear and go for it. So take a moment and tell us all about you, where you're from, and how you got to where you're at today.
Oh my goodness, Megan, it's funny when I look at my life. There was a show on TV that used to be Jerry Springer.
Yeah,
Do you remember Jerry Springer show? Like the
yes.
outrageous family stories. I
Totally
felt like
drama. Uh-huh.
that was my life though growing up.
Oh, okay.
Pretty crazy like that. So, my mother had me. My mother got pregnant with me. She was 15.
Okay.
She got married to the man who wasn't actually my biological father, but she married someone.
Mm-hmm.
And he took me in as his own. And then 3 years later, they had a little boy. And then a year after that, they got divorced.
Okay.
Um, didn't get to see my mom very often. And from what I spoke with my mom, she passed away 6 years ago. And we had a great relationship when she passed away. But at that time, um, my father at the time got remarried.
Mm-hmm.
Not a good situation. And I was really didn't get to see my mom very often. I'd see her periodically. Like I remember sitting at the window just waiting for my mom to come visit, and she wouldn't show. And I didn't get to see her. I remember my stepmom telling me I wasn't allowed to call her mom. So there was a lot of things, and I was young when that all happened. Well, they ended up getting divorced again, and then he gets very this is where it gets Jerry Springery. He marries. My father ends up marrying my mom sister.
Okay. Wow, Christine, I
So
didn't know all of this.
I
We
know.
talked,
So
but we didn't talk about this.
no, no. So Mary's a sister. We never went and lived with her. My brother Ken and I never went and lived with her because we stayed with my grandparents. They took
Okay.
us under the wing. But because they were older, they took us a lot to my aunt and uncle because they had a boy and a girl as well.
Okay.
So we were all really close. Um, my aunt and uncle ended up adopting us.
Okay.
In fact, sad story was I remember the day we got adopted. We were at the courthouse. It was on Halloween.
Mm,
And we go into the courthouse. Do you want to be adopted? Yes. I mean, there's such a need of wanting to feel like you belong,
mm-hmm.
especially as a child. Like, will someone just love me enough to want to be my parents, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my aunt and uncle ended up adopting us. And I remember after we left the courtroom, we went to the restroom. I walked out of the stall and in walks my mom and her sister, the one that had been married to Don previously. They both walked in. And my
Oh,
mom was crying. I'm like, and I haven't seen her for years. I'm
oh,
like, what is
wow.
going on? What is going on? And I'm rushed out of there by my aunt who had just adopted me. And I go outside and um, our father, Ken's biological father, our father was out there and he told us, remember, I always love you. And he got in the car with my grandpa and he took off.
Mm,
Um, so my grandpa wanted to make sure that Ken and I were adopted and that we weren't just put out in the system somewhere as foster children. So my aunt and uncle stepped up and they adopted us. I found out later to my mom that she had no idea we were being adopted. So that was a
wow.
surprise to her because his marriage after her, he had she had wanted to adopt us and she fought it. She's like, no, no, no. She lived in the same place. And so she never heard anything. No letter came to her. What they had done is put it in the newspaper as an announcement. And so what happened is she was out with her sister and somebody said to her, what are you doing? Your kids are getting adopted today. And she was like, what? So she went home, got changed, hurried, got to the courthouse, and had just missed us. And that's why
Mm,
she was bawling because she made it just after we were adopted. It was final. She couldn't say anything. It was done. Um, didn't know that till many years later. I always just felt like I wasn't wanted, you know. So my
mm,
aunt and uncle have adopted us. I was 9 years old when they adopted us. I grew up in a little small town. Everybody's LDS pretty much, you know.
mhm,
My adopted father ended up abusing me. So a lot of people, when they hear the story, oh, you got adopted, that is so wonderful.
mm,
But no, it really wasn't.
mm.
And I didn't really know that what was going on. I mean, I was young, and he was the first person that I kind of felt really loved me, and
Yeah,
then it was gone.
yeah.
And my senior year, my adopted dad came to me and he said, hey, you know what happened with you when you were younger? And I said, yes. And he said, well, it happened with your brother as well. And I was just heartbroken because I thought if I ever found out he hurt somebody else, I would stand up and I would say what he did. And he said, and if you say anything, Christine, this whole family be tore apart. Each one of your kids will be put in a foster home. So I stayed quiet.
Wow.
I did not use my voice. I didn't know who to tell, who to talk to. I couldn't talk to his wife because we were not close. I could not tell
Mm,
my grandparents that was his parents.
yeah,
So I just kept that burden inside for a really long time. I did open up about it later. Very protective. Of course, I never let my kids be left around. That was
yes.
something,
Mm,
not even an option, right?
right.
So after I got married, I get a phone call. Hi, Christine, this is Tassie. I am your sister. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, you have the wrong phone number. Click. And this is back before cell phones, right? And we didn't have caller ID because that cost more money. So it was like the phone rings again. I answered again. Hi, Christine. This is Tassie. We have the same birth mom, Jane. And my heart just, what? Because that is my mom's name. I'm like, okay, all right. I didn't know what to do. I just kind of froze. I don't remember the rest of the conversation, but here the story is this. She always knew about me. So my mother went on and had two more kids,
Oh,
Tassie.
wow.
So I had another brother and sister out there that I had no idea about. My
Mhm.
sister knew all about me and she was so excited to meet me. For me, it was hard because I didn't know, what are you talking about? I have another sister, I have another brother. And growing up with being adopted, my birth mom was never spoke highly of. I
Mm,
remember one time getting in trouble, a couple times getting in trouble being called little Jane. And I was just like, oh, I'm a bad person.
that
Okay,
must be a bad thing.
that must
Yeah.
be a bad thing. Oh my gosh. All right. And yet there's part of me that also thought, like, I'm sharing so much with you. You're just seeing all the vulnerability right now.
Mhm.
There's part of me that thought maybe my adopted mom knew what her husband had done. Because when my mom got adopted at 15, maybe she knew something. That's why she's calling me little Jane.
Uh,
Right. But it took a while for me to really accept my birth mom and let her in
mhm,
because I had so many preconceived ideas I didn't know how. And I felt like she didn't want me. And then
mhm.
to find out she didn't even know. She was heartbroken. You know, I'm becoming a mother myself, just thinking, oh, I can't imagine the burden that heart was
Yes.
her, how heavy on her heart to just not have your babies anymore. That would be hard.
Yeah,
You
it
know, so
would.
getting to know her and opening up, it took a while. It took a good, many, many years.
Mhm.
And that was like from 94. Like I said, she passed away 6 years ago. So 20, what is that, 18? 2018, she passed away. But when
Yeah.
she left here, I am so grateful for that relationship and that love that she gave me, that with her, I always felt loved.
Wow.
I felt like no matter what I had done, she loved me. She saw me for who I was. I think
Hmm.
she's the first person that I ever really felt unconditional love from. So, and well, her and my grandmother, I say that, my grandmother as well.
I'm
So
happy about that part for you.
that's amazing.
Yeah, that's a lot to happen in your formative years. And, we know that those affect us
hmm,
through through our teenage years, through our young adult years, and our adult and beyond. And you became a wife and a mother, and there's more to your story. How have you seen that, play a role, that those formative years and the experiences that you had, and we could even say the stories, like you realized not until your adult years that those were actually inaccurate, right? You were
right.
living inside of stories that weren't actually true, weren't
Right.
actually reality. Um, how is this what your book is about, by the way? I know you're writing a book through Joan of Arc
I am
Publishing.
writing a book, and there'll be some of it in here.
Okay.
I'm pulling up magnets, pulling the magnets in as Kira, she's been training us,
Yes.
pulling the
Right.
magnets and thinking, what do I need to share?
Yes.
I think the biggest thing I learned through all of that, two things.
Okay.
One is I never like to have anyone feel unloved. I want everyone to feel like they're important
Mm-hmm.
and that they matter, because I know what it feels like when you've had that way, that you know matter, right? And you feel unloved. So
Mm-hmm.
whenever I see somebody like in a group or someone's new or something, I always try to make sure everybody feels involved, because that was me. I knew how it was to feel not wanted or
Yeah.
loved, not
Right.
seen, you know.
Right.
So that was really, really good. I think the second thing I learned, which has a twofold lesson, I think with growing up feeling like that,
Mm-hmm.
in a very strong community of one religion, in the religion, LDS, then you're taught to get married in the temple,
Right.
be worthy. And I so wanted God's love that I'll do whatever they tell me I need to do because I want him to love me. And so
Mm-hmm.
in a way, I felt like that was actually a conditional love.
Yeah.
And I've learned that's not how God is.
Right.
God is not conditional.
Agree.
He
Mm-hmm.
loves all. And I say he just because my, growing up
Kind of where
saying
you
he
you
or
grew up.
Heavenly Father, God, universe, whatever you want to call it, I still believe in God. But
Mm-hmm.
that power that is so divine is unconditional loving. It's not because you speak or you do everything that you're supposed to do, supposed to do.
In quotes,
But
right.
yes, that God loves you. He loves you no matter what. I remember one time hearing a church, there was someone who spoke, and I guess the son had done something wrong, so the father wouldn't talk to him. And then
Mm-hmm.
one day he has his wife go get the son and say, he can come and talk to me now. And the father said to the son, how did that feel not to have me to talk to you for a couple of days? Well, that's what Heavenly Father does when you don't listen to him. And I thought,
Oh no.
that is so wrong.
Yes.
I would never do that to my own kids,
Yeah.
my own children. If we believe that this is a heavenly being and we are heavenly children, there is no way where he knows so much more and so much broader that he would withhold his
Right.
love from his
I don't
children.
know how it is for you on your faith journey, but one thing I have just come to the conclusion of time and time again is how much our perception or understanding of God is so reflective of our finite understanding and our finite view as humans. And it's really reflective of the humans who came before us,
Yeah.
whether that's our family, whether it's leaders, and so on. And really, before that can change in our own minds and in our own hearts, is we have to claim our sovereignty. We
Mhm.
have to hear and listen to that, those whisperings, those that inner voice. Growing up, I was taught that was called the Holy Ghost. That's
Mhm.
that works. I'm learning there's lots of vocabulary words that can describe similar phenomena in a spiritual journey. I now call mine a spiritual awakening. And I love kind of being the captain of my own vessel on this journey because I get to decide and I say decide, but really what that means is go inward and
Mhm.
listen and truly hear what I am being taught, what is coming up for me, what is meant for me in
Mhm.
my journey with the divine. How have you found that to be in your
That's so
journey?
honoring to hear you say that, Megan, because how many of us walk around and ignore that feeling?
I think it happens a lot, especially when you're taught from a very young age that your presence, your existence is in deference to another's, whether that's someone older than you, a leader, or in a patriarchal system, it's you're in deference to a man,
Yeah, and their knowing is higher than your knowing for you,
right? I look
right?
forward to the day that the balance there can move toward a more give and take, a more natural, actual balance, not an offset, not someone having one having power over another. That I just to me that just doesn't define God or make sense at all. That's the antithesis of love in
Yeah.
in my heart and in my mind and in what makes sense for me, you know.
Mhm.
So, can you speak to that a little bit about your journey, having the background that you did, and wanting and feeling so strongly about wanting to feel loved and have that in your life? How did that affect your journey, your marriage, your spiritual journey, your faith journey,
Yeah.
and so on?
Well, of course, I got married in the LDS temple.
Uh-huh.
That was what you're the highest that you can be because it
Mm-hmm.
puts you in the celestial kingdom, right? To be married in the temple to someone.
Mm-hmm. In the LDS faith, for those that are listening that are not members, the belief is there are three kingdoms on the in the hereafter, I guess, and there are certain things that must be accomplished, I guess, achieved um, in our earth life that are required in order
With
to make it to a certain level.
hereafter. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for that, I got married in the temple, of course,
Mm-hmm.
and it taught me so many things. Like I really love being a mom. I ended up having four children, and
Mm-hmm.
they're amazing. Like the greatest blessing are my children.
Lucky kids.
Yeah. Well, I think that's again where my past came in, right? Because I worked so hard and I wanted to work hard at being the best mom I could be, but the mom they needed me to be. So in a way, that's kind of detrimental a little bit because you give up who you are because you want them to have everything.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's a sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
And but to me, the sacrifice wasn't hard because I wanted my kids to know they were unconditionally
Mm-hmm.
loved from their mother, that they didn't have to ever feel unloved. I never wanted my kids to ever question their love from their mom. So I gave that freely and I loved it. I was a stay-at-home mom until my youngest went into first grade and she's graduating this year.
Oh,
Baby
wow.
graduate, not excited about that.
Don't
But
blink. Just
I
nice.
know. Yeah. So for me, you know, my children watched me be very active. I was very active in callings in the LDS church. And it hit, I think, for me, there was a letter that came out. Do you remember the CES letter?
As part of my commitment to giving back, every first Friday of the month, I offer a free coaching hour. Anyone is welcome to join, and you may leave your camera off and change your name if you would like to remain anonymous. This is an opportunity to get introduced to my style of holistic coaching and what it would be like to work with me. Gain real skills, insight relevant to you, and fresh perspective on life circumstances. Each month is a different topic. For those attending, there will be opportunities for a complimentary one-off energy alignment session. Once registered, you will have access to discount codes for my other offerings. To get the link, including all the resources, register to complete the agreement at the link in the show notes. I've heard of it. I've
Okay.
only caught, I decided I had learned plenty from other sources. I know the gist of it.
That was brought to my awareness. My children's father, we're divorced now.
Uh-huh.
Children's father brought it to my attention because I didn't want to show this to you. And I'm like, why? But then when I read it, I was like, oh, all this, there's so many things out there that kind of touched my heart. There's so many things that I ignored and it
Mm-hmm.
didn't feel good. One of them was probably polygamy. I didn't love the fact that men could marry as many women as they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Even today, men can get married in the temple and sealed to many women, where a woman can only be sealed to one man.
Mm-hmm.
So there was that one. There was a lot more, not to go into every detail, but there's a lot of things that always just didn't feel. It made me as a woman feel like I wasn't enough still.
Mm-hmm.
So hearing these things kind of really adjusted my thinking and my paradigm shifted. Like, what? What? And so
Mm-hmm.
many of the things in that letter are actually in plain sight in the website, in the church's, the LDS church's website. So I say the church because here in Utah, everybody calls it the church. I was like, there are
Mm-hmm.
millions of churches, but I'm probably not millions, but there's a lot of churches out there. So it kind of gets categorized as the church because it's the
Right.
most known here. But the LDS church, there are a lot of things that were actually on the website
Mm-hmm.
coming out and that they knew, but they were trying to, in my opinion, it was being hidden, right? In plain sight.
Mm-hmm.
So, and now thanks to the internet, there's so many things that you can find.
Mm-hmm.
I have family and dear friends that are still very active in the faith, and I love and honor and support them because that's where they are joyful and they
Mm-hmm.
feel like they need to be. For me, I pulled away from the church as soon as I started finding out other having
Mm-hmm.
like other things. I was like, whoa, I actually felt I had been deceived a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another situation that happened. I have a dear friend, Holly Henry, and I remember sitting outside in the cul-de-sac playing with my kids. And I heard as clear as the day, like someone would talk to me, just Holly has something to teach you.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, oh my gosh, I feel really embarrassed to even admit this, but I'm admitting it. I was like, what
Okay.
do you mean? I'm like, I'm active in the LDS church, the one and only true church. And Holly is not active anymore. Like, what would she have to teach me? And I'm so ashamed. Let's just
Oh,
be
it's
honest.
real, Christine. It's real.
It's
That's
so real.
the way
So
you were
real.
taught.
And she
So
has
I
taught
hope you
me
can
so.
have grace. I hope you can have grace for yourself.
Thanks. Well, there's part of me. That's one thing. The other thing is, you don't know this about my story is, so when we were all taken out of when I was a senior and it came out about what my adopted dad had done, he was actually put in jail.
Okay.
They took my younger brother out of the house and put him like in a juvie center because he is the one who actually went and told my cousin who was staying with us what had happened.
Okay.
So my adopted mom called asking questions to children to like I can't remember something for children. I can't remember. I can't remember the right word, like division of for children, right? Protect children.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, well, now that we have your
Yes.
number and know what's going on, we do need to investigate this. And I think she automatically felt like she had to cover up for him. So they did. My young brother was only a freshman in school.
Mm-hmm.
He was taken out of the home. I was at work one night. I came home and he wasn't there anymore. And the cops had come and taken him out of the home and put him in juvie center. I was so heartbroken. That was my brother.
Yeah.
Um, and I couldn't tell anybody what had happened with our adopted dad because what he
Mm-hmm.
told me, I was afraid to say anything. And really, no other adult came and asked me. Adopted mother asked, but I wasn't going to tell her anything. I wasn't close enough to tell her.
Yeah.
But no other authority came and checked on the children or interviewed the children to see if anything else had went on.
That's too
So
bad.
with Ken being out of the house, I didn't get to see him for years because he was in the foster system. He did get pulled out
Mm-hmm.
of the house. He had a hard life. Um, when I married David, he told me just wait until we're married and then you can create that relationship again with him, which I was very grateful for. And I did. I started that relationship with Ken, my brother Ken.
Mm-hmm.
Probably about 2 years into my marriage, Ken came out and said he was gay.
Okay.
At the time, I was very yelled, yes. What? You're choosing to be gay.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we were
Right.
told. That this was a
Right.
choice they chose. And I love my brother, but I thought, oh my gosh, but the church is telling us this is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
We're not supposed to be this way. What he's choosing this. It's not something he was born with. He's wanting this lifestyle. But yet there's part of me that I love my brother. Like,
Yeah.
don't have me say anything bad about my brother.
Right.
I
It's a
think
hard
that's the other
spot to
thing.
be in.
Yeah, I think that was the other thing that kind of really woke me up is there is no way that God would push some other person away like
Hmm.
that. So,
So it strikes me so much as you're sharing a little bit more here. You talked about how you couldn't say anything about what happened between your adopted dad and you as a child, sexual abuse.
right.
That you literally you didn't have a voice. You believed that
I did believe it.
100% to your core, right? And fast forward till now, of course you don't see life that way. You don't feel that way any longer.
No.
If you were to share, in what has been the kind of the biggest thing, what has helped you to find, claim, and use your voice? Because you're sharing it right now
Thanks. Thank
out in
you.
the open. Hmm.
You know, I think it's when I realized that God loves. That's what God is all about. So speak, because I think the biggest hurt is regret. And there's a lot of regret that I didn't step up and say. Um, I can't change the past.
Mm-mm.
And all I can do is just embrace what I was then or who I was then into who I am now. You know,
Hmm.
I recently went through a divorce. We were nearly
Hmm.
30 years. And I think that was the first time that I really stood up for myself. I just turned 50, so I was 48 when I filed, so it's like,
Hmm.
wow, that to be that old,
Hmm.
okay, that young,
Young.
young,
Hello.
and, and realize I'm not, I'm not living this way anymore. Like
Hmm.
I matter and I deserve to have a happy life and I deserve to feel loved and be seen. And as a woman to be honored for who I am. And it really took me loving myself to
Hmm.
step into that space.
If we were in a live studio audience, I'd be cueing the applause right
I don't know.
now.
You. But it is, it comes to a space that you really, not that you have to, but you start owning it. Like I am love and I am lovable and this is my life to live. And I don't need to just, like how I said, you give up so much for your children, which I'm very happy I did.
Hmm.
But I don't have to just exist in this life for
Hmm.
everybody else to be happy.
Mm-mm.
So that was hard.
I feel that. I feel that so strongly, Christine. It is hard, especially women of our generation, to we hear that voice, and I've realized how many times I've kind of maybe brushed it off over the years. And the more that it's a practice, it's a skill, it can be increased, it can be deepened, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful part of my life now. And I love how you've claimed your sovereignty and you have a brain, you have a heart, and you've used them to determine, wait, no, God is love. The God that I know, the God that I understand and have a relationship is love. Something doesn't match up here, and I'm going to listen to my intuition and I'm going to explore this. You've shared many times when you have, leaned into these questions or these discrepancies that have popped up and brought in doubts for you.
Mhm.
And that's the focus of one of the focuses of this podcast. And I've recently reimagined it to also just let's just really celebrate all the joy, all of the beautiful things that come on the other side of that uncertainty. Because let's be
Mhm.
honest, it's not easy to step into that space that we've been told is wrong, is bad. You'll be unworthy, all the things that maybe we were told. You'll be disobedient, a heretic, whatever. But the more that you follow that intuition, the more that you do step into what is uncertain to you in the moment, the blessings, the miracles, all of it come.
Mhm.
I just applaud you.
Thank you. Thank you. I think the hardest thing through the divorce was my children. to watch them be hurt.
Mhm. Mhm.
But one thing I was told by my therapist is do not go into the story with your children. They will learn as they go and experience life, right?
Mhm.
You step into that space. But you and I were talking at the event, I believe, about like forgiveness and how forgiveness isn't for the other person, it's for yourself.
Mhm.
You're not the one carrying that anymore, right?
Right.
And I
Right.
had something hit me this morning after I was in prayer. It wasn't just forgiveness, but it's also that feeling of betrayal. Because I think I carried a long time the feeling of being betrayed. And after going through
Mhm.
the divorce, feeling I was so betrayed by the people
Yeah.
I love most. And stop. Now think of how forgiveness works. Forgiveness works for me to forgive.
Mhm.
Same thing with betrayal. I felt betrayed, but in a way, what happened was is the people that I felt betrayed by were betraying themselves because they weren't being the unconditional love. They weren't
Wow.
being the light of God.
Mhm.
But that's their path to learn, right? So no judgment on
Right.
that. Let it
Right.
go. Just realize, I was the one betraying myself. So now no more betraying myself. Step up to who you are, as uncomfortable
Wow.
as it is, because it hurt, but it's brought the greatest joy in knowing who I am and to know that I am so loved and so strong. And you know what? At the end of the day, I'm never alone. I am
That's
seen.
true.
I am heard, just like everyone else.
That is so beautifully, perfectly said.
Thank
Uh, cannot add to that's just really well said. Thank you, Christine.
you. Thank you.
So, just a last question I like to ask all of my guests
Okay.
to wrap up. Tell me what it means to you to live beyond the shadow of doubt.
That's your knowing
Mhm.
who you are. And every day, we look back in this human experience, like me even sharing my story about me being very strong in the faith I was in and who I am
Mhm.
now.
Right. And
It's
what you
knowing
said to
that all those
Holly.
experiences, yeah, all those experiences created who I am now to awaken to me this
That's so true.
unconditional love
Mhm.
force that's meant to make a difference in maybe one person's life.
Mhm.
But the only way I can do that is by honoring who I am. So
I love that perspective. It it makes it sacred. It makes all of it you view it through the eyes of the bigger picture, the eternal progression, um, the journey, the path to become who we already are, just refined, but more refined and
mhm.
more like.
Well, and I think you even said the word earlier when we were speaking about like awakening, right?
Hmm.
Sometimes it's like this remembrance. Oh yeah, that feels
Yeah,
delicious. That's right. That's who I am.
yeah. Well, I can't wait for you to write your story
So
with
excited.
JOA Publishing, and share that with the world. So I just have some for fun questions to wrap
Okay.
up. Just
Okay.
looking for one or two word answers.
Okay.
That's just really briefly. So tell us your favorite book.
Ooh, that's a good one. Right now, it's always what I'm reading currently at the time, right?
Perfect.
So the one I'm reading right now is by Florence. What's her name? Florence Shire.
Scoville Shin. Uh-huh.
Yes, The Game of Life and How to Play It.
That's a good one.
So I
Awesome.
love that one right now. Mhm.
Okay. Are
Another thing I
you?
love about that, I'm sorry, I'm not
It's
to the word,
okay. Tell us.
is as we're right, I think Kira said this at her event, and since we're authors, right?
Hmm.
The fact that this book was written so long ago
I
and
know.
still has so much truth in it that awakens your soul. Like, oh,
It's
won't
doesn't
it
it
be
connect you
amazing?
with humanity? Like it was written in the 1910, like well, actually before 1910,
So
1906 or
early.
something.
But the
Yeah.
fact it's been over 100 years, right?
Yeah.
That it's still touching our soul. And I just think how amazing that, you and I get to write a book,
Right.
be able to
Isn't
touch.
that precious? That is just what a legacy, right? Oh,
Yes,
I love
yes.
it. Okay, so are you an introvert or an extrovert?
Extrovert.
Extrovert.
Right.
Who's your favorite artist?
Ooh, are we talking music?
You get to pick.
I'd say my brother Ken. He's an
Okay.
amazing singer. When you hear him sing, it's like, where did that come
Awesome.
from? So he would say
Awesome.
to people all the time, like, she's the pretty one, but I'm the talented one. I'm like, okay. You
Are
are.
you a night owl or a morning lark?
Morning. And it's so funny because I will be like high energy that my kids used to say, Mom, you're here. We need you here. Like, bring it down.
That's great. Leave it to our kids. And tell us your celebrity crush, if you have one.
Hmm. Well, it used to be, the guy off of Fast and Furious, Paul Walker, but he passed away
Oh,
a long time
he
ago.
did pass away. Yeah.
But I don't really have a
That
celebrity
works.
crush.
That
But that
works.
was like when I was younger too. So it's like, I don't know.
Okay. And
Celebrity
do you do,
crushes, they're like, you don't really know who they are.
yeah, it comes and goes as you get older too.
Yeah.
Do you do still or carbonated water? Are you a diet soda fan or some other
I'm
beverage?
usually a water with some flavor. I have
Hmm.
done diet drinks. I'm not really a big soda lover.
Yeah, I don't do that nearly as much as I used to either. And then finally, the furthest place that you've traveled.
Belize.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm,
They speak English there, right?
they do. Yeah.
Yeah, how fun.
Well, we went with friends too. So it was nice that everybody there,
Yeah,
well, everybody that we were with could all speak. So it was good. And they had their own,
fun.
so it was nice.
Well, tell folks who might want to connect with you, reach out to you with questions and whatnot, where or how is the best way to reach you?
Instagram, my Instagram page is the
Okay.
Christine official, and that'd be the
Okay.
best way to get hold of me.
Okay. We'll leave that in the show notes for everybody. And
Thank
then they
you.
can follow you and watch when your story as your story unfolds and gets published. So
So
thank you
excited.
so much, Christine. This has been just a joy to chat with you.
Megan, thank you. And thank you for being part of my journey on this path.
Same,
So
right back at you.
and our hearts together. So thank you so much for opening
Totally.
and sharing with me and let me see your beautiful soul.
So much love.
Yes.
Writer, teacher, author, Mormon scholar, and founder of Dialogue Journal, Eugene England said, "My faith encourages my curiosity and awe. It thrusts me out into relationship with all creation and encourages me to enter into dialogue." As a proud member of the Dialogue Podcast Network, my hope is that Living Beyond the Shadow of Doubt podcast is an extension of that vision. Visit meganskidmorecoaching.com to find this podcast and additional free resources, including the link for a complimentary coaching session. Follow me on Facebook or Instagram for more or to send me a DM. Help the podcast grow. Please follow, review, and share with a friend.